I was expecting a lot of backlash, which I didn't really receive. I mean, you obviously have your haters all the time, but to receive so much love and support, I was overwhelmed. I was crying. I was like, whoa, they respect me not only as an athlete, but as a human. So to be viewed as human, I'm like, this is kind of nice for once, and it definitely makes me happy.
Simone Biles is the most decorated American gymnast in the history of the sport. With 7 Olympic and 25 World Championship medals, she's widely considered the greatest of all time, or more succinctly, the GOAT. But at this summer's Tokyo Games, the 24-year-old superstar faced one of the toughest challenges of her career when she began suffering from the twisties, a dangerous phenomenon gymnasts can experience mid-air when mind and body are out of sync and they suddenly lose all sense of space and dimension.
Once I came out here, I was like, no, mental is not there, so I just need to let the girls do it and focus on myself.
With the whole world watching, Simone responded with incredible courage, withdrawing from the team competition final, which immediately kickstarted a nationwide conversation on mental health awareness.
Yeah, I say put mental health first, because if you don't, then you're not going to enjoy your sport and you're not going to succeed as much as you want to. So it's okay sometimes to even sit out the big competitions to focus on yourself, because it shows how strong of a competitor and person that you really are, rather than just battle through it.
And that's probably one of the first times in my career where I felt courageous and I felt like I had got to speak up for myself. And I know training with Cecile and Laurent, they've given me that right for these couple of years, so I'm very grateful and thankful for the relationship we have. But being over there and just being like, hey, you know, it's not working, and them agreeing and be like, you know what, that's fine, and we're gonna work through it how we're gonna work through it, rather than pushing me or forcing me or anything. I think that's the beauty of that relationship, but definitely can walk away from Tokyo feeling courage, feeling at ease, and I did everything I could. And it did take a lot of courage, because to train for 5 years and then get out there and have something like that happen, I had to be smart for me, but not only for me, for the team as well, so that they had their best shot at medaling. And I know what I did in my heart was the right decision, and the girls medaled with a silver, and I think if I would have kept going and falling or even injuring myself, they wouldn't have medaled, and I don't think that's fair because they trained way too hard. I think a lot of things played into factor, and it was a very unique Olympics, and I think it's going to be memorable for years and years and years to come. But being on a global stage again after COVID and not seeing anybody, and then not having my family there, and then everything that USA Gymnastics has gone through, and then knowing I have to speak at the Senate and all of this stuff, it's just like, it's kind of traumatic. And I just think on a big stage like that, it just blew up, and my body and my mind mentally said, no, Simone, you need to take care of yourself. Like, you've suppressed all this stuff for years and years, but we're gonna tell you it's too much, you need to take a break. And thankfully I listened, because I got to walk away from Tokyo, not just with 2 medals, but on my own 2 feet. And that was really nice for me, because my perspective changed. Definitely the skills will come back. I know right here in the facility, if I get on the tramp or anything like that, I can do them. I'm still a little bit scared, because it is scary having like your mind and your body not in sync, but I know that whenever you get the twisties, it just takes time, and that's something we didn't have in Tokyo, unfortunately. So I knew eventually they were gonna come back with some proper rest, mind at ease and all of that stuff, no stress, no pressure, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, as if anyone were to go through something kind of like traumatic like that. But whenever I got home, I was like really sad about it. But then on the flip side, I was like, you know how many people I helped by speaking out and teaching them that they need to speak up for themselves, and just kind of going through that road together and putting mental health at the forefront. So I knew that it was right. And I mean, obviously I'm still gonna be sad or feel some type of way about it, because it didn't go how I wanted, but with the cards that I was dealt with, it went better than expected. I don't want another young gymnast, Olympic athlete, or any individual to experience the horror that I and hundreds of others have endured before, during, and continuing to this day in the wake of the Larry Nassar abuse.
In September, Simone and 3 other U.S. gymnasts bravely testified before a Senate Judiciary Committee.
We have been failed, and we deserve answers. Nassar is where he belongs, but those who enabled him deserve to be held accountable.
The congressional hearing was held to examine the FBI's mishandling of the investigation of former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar.
To be clear,
Take your time.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse. USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee knew that I was abused by their official team doctor long before I was ever made aware of their knowledge. I think that speaking at Congress helped so much, and I think we were so powerful when we did it, but people forget how traumatic it is for us. So I like to be very vague in interviews whenever I talk about that stuff because it's still a very big trigger, so I'm still working on it, healing and all of that stuff. So just knowing I'm helping other people speak out and being comfortable with that is very rewarding.
Helping others has certainly been a theme for Simone this year. Thanks to her courage and honesty in Tokyo, she helped shine a light on mental health awareness within the world of sports and inspired countless fellow athletes to open up about their own mental health journeys.
I mean, I feel very happy because I feel like it's a conversation long overdue, but to have these athletes, grown men and grown women, be like, you know what, I am in my 30s, I can speak up for myself. It's kind of sad that we didn't think we had that opportunity or that ability to do so before and put our mental health first, but to see them putting their mental health first is really exciting. It's unfortunate that something like that had to happen before people started to take it serious, but you know, me being on a global scene all the time and them seeing me compete, they're like, wait, this is real, this is normal, she's a human being. So it puts the human back into the athlete. But it was very intimidating because I didn't get to say, I want to do this or I don't want to do this, because as soon as I announced that it was mental health issues and I just needed to take a step back, everybody wanted me to be an advocate in the face for mental health, and I was like, no, I'm not an expertise. Like, I'm still going through my own unique journey, and that's something I need to figure out before I can try to help people and talk about, hey, this is gonna help you and this is gonna help you, because I'm no expert, I'm going through it my own self. So if I could just be a guidance and walk that road and guide people, then that's what I'm gonna do. But I don't wanna false advertise, so it was really scary, and that's one of the things I talked to my agent, like, no, I'm not advocating for it, I'm just explaining this is my own journey and this is what I've been going through. And if you can relate, great. If you can't, great. So it's very different rather than being an advocate for gymnastics. Like, I'm an expert in that. It's different. I can teach a cartwheel, I can do this, but mental health, I have no idea. I'm lost. I'm figuring it out. And I realized that my journey's not over and it's just a work in progress, and I have to continue to work at that so I can be as healthy as possible.
This fall, Simone also headlined the Gold Over America Tour, a 35-city celebration of women's gymnastics, showcasing the power and brilliance of an all-star team of world-class athletes.
I mean, it was no expectations, and I think that was the beauty of the tour and what we brought to each and every city, because there were no expectations. We were out there having fun, doing what we love, and everybody got to show their golden side of them, and I think that's really unique and something that's never been done before, because every time we go out there and compete, it's always been pretty serious. People don't get to see our personalities, and so to have a show like this in the US, I think it was good for us, but it was also good for the audience to see us in a different format. And every time I did one of our numbers, every time somebody would say, "We love you, Simone," and that was just so heartwarming.
While 2021 was no doubt an emotional year for Simone, it was also full of accomplishment and growth. She was tested like never before, but once again, the GOAT prevailed. inspiring the world while also learning important lessons about herself.
I feel like in a way it's kind of humbled me, and I think that's really important because I only ever looked to gymnastics so that people could tell me who I was and who I wanted to be. But now internally I know who I am and what I want to do. But not only that, I think for as crazy as the past 2 years have been, I've been as successful as possible that I can given the terms that I'm under. And so in that way it's rewarding because a couple years ago, if you were like, you're walking away from Tokyo with 2 medals, I would have probably cried, looked at you crazy. And now I'm like, it was a show. I did a good job. Like, I'm proud of myself, you know? I fought hard. I survived, like, no regrets. I feel like I'm really good. I'm a good dog mom, I'm a good girlfriend, I'm a good daughter, I'm a good sister. But for years, I've only ever thought I was good at gymnastics. So to take that step back and look at all the things that I'm okay at or pretty good at, I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm succeeding in life outside of gymnastics because that was the scariest part of me. And it was also really scary to be 19 years old at my first Olympics and achieve possibly the biggest milestone in my life. And it's like, if I've achieved my biggest dream at 19, I'm in trouble. So now to look forward and be like, there's way more to accomplish outside of the sport and I can keep pushing. And I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like most people my age would be graduating college or going on to do other things, and they're trying to figure out their life. So it's okay that I'm lost right now and I don't know what to do, but I do have things that I'm really interested in with like working with foster care kids and the foster care community. That's very like heartfelt to me, and the journey's not over for me yet, but I just have to see what future me wants, and I'm gonna give it some time because I think I deserve that, and just to mentally rest, physically rest, and just prepare for what's next.